All right, so as I mentioned in the previous video, I just had urethral surgery like 5 days ago. So I've just been laying around doing jack shit for the past 5 days, and I've spent a good amount of time staring at this screen of mine, and I spent a little bit of time on Twitter, just messing around on there, and I came across a few videos this afternoon of people killing people over like nothing. Like I watched a handful of videos of people just brutally killing other people over just some really petty bullshit. Like what seemed to be, these altercations that started off really, and then, words were exchanged, and then next thing you know, someone was brutally murdering another person on video. And I didn't watch too many. I didn't fall too far down the rabbit hole, but it was enough to. Yeah, it was enough. It was sufficient and compelling me to make this rambly little video talking a little bit about it. That's really bright. But yeah, just giving some of my thoughts on people just brutally, impulsively murdering other people that they really didn't even know all that well. I've spent a fair bit of time on this channel talking about how many people will create people with people that they really didn't know all that well. So in this video, I'm going to talk about people murdering people that they really didn't know all that well. And because I do feel it's an important reminder, Many people have very little left to lose in their lives. Many people just have like nothing left to lose. Many people's lives are just, life in of itself. I feel it's an important reminder that life is a repulsive pile of shit. It is, and we're all in hell. And it sounds exaggerated to say that. It sounds like an exaggeration, but we're in hell. And this place, there's no limit. There's no possible limit to how severe suffering can become. And yeah, the reason as to why I feel this to be an important reminder is when it comes to altercations like this, especially those of us who are fairly impulsive and aggressive, like those of us who have engaged in certain forms of road rage, for example, in the past, I find the more I sit with that, genuinely, the more I sit with that, the more I remind myself of the fact that life is a repulsive pile of shit for many people. The more time I spend cultivating these natural feelings of empathy, understanding, it helps in letting shit like that go. Like you get cut off in traffic, for example, and just being able to just remind yourself, all right, who knows what the fuck that person might be going through. It's easier to let it go when you remind yourself of, and of course they could just be a piece of shit, there's no way to know that either, for sure. Type of vehicle might help, but even that's not definite. So it's just, I don't know. Back to people impulsively killing people. Another reason, because there's a distinction to be made, I wanted to talk about a couple of examples that I saw, videos that stuck out to me the most in particular. And one of them was, I did a little bit of research on it. It was a war veteran who ended up, he had recently lost his wife to cancer, not long prior to committing these acts of murder. He got into this altercation with his neighbors, and a neighbor was, a man and a woman. Both the couple and the veteran were well into their, I don't know, at least 50s, later than that probably. And he was just talking shit back and forth. And then next thing you know, I think the war veteran pulled out his gun first, and then the woman pulled out her gun soon after, and she fired some shots at him at very close range. Not a single one hit the guy. And then he just fucking shot her, knocked her to pavement, and he executed her on the street. And then he went and killed her husband, I believe it was. And that's a scenario where that was a guy who genuinely did have like nothing left to lose. I think it's safe to say that fella in particular, he killed himself soon after that. That scenario, he genuinely did have just nothing left to lose. So, and there are going to be people like that. But I think many people, in particular when it comes to younger folks who end up killing someone rather impulsively for virtually nothing, it typically comes down to, it's not so much that they have nothing left to lose, it's more so they fail to recognize there's two, it's a combination of things, of course. Again, short-sightedness, stupidity, especially when you're overcome by this feeling of rage. It can be easy to forget that you have quite a bit left to lose. It can be very easy to forget that for many people who are more so young, and also, of course, depending upon their living environment, of course, and genetics play a role too, and it's just the case in general that again, of course, the impulsive, short-sighted folks, they're going to be far more likely to create biological extensions of themselves. So quite common, so just some things to keep in mind. You got to be careful. You got to be careful if you're going to be getting into some altercations with people, because they might fall into one of those camps of someone who genuinely does have little to nothing left to lose, or they're too goddamn stupid to recognize that they still have quite a bit left to lose. Regardless of whatever camp they fall in, there's a lot of people that fall into either one of those. So you got to be careful out there. Don't. I guess the summary is a lot of people are really stupid. And a lot of people have very little left to lose. So it's not worth getting into altercations with strangers, because you might die, and you probably don't want to die. You might want to die. I don't know you personally. I don't want to die yet. I'm getting there, though. I just pissed like 20 minutes ago, and it's not slowing down at all. It's fucking... The good thing about it is it's very brief, the amount of pain. It lasts for just a couple of minutes right after I piss from this surgery. But those 2 minutes that it does last, it's fucking... That's a hell of a sting. It's like a wasp is stinging the inside of my fucking urethra. But at least it's only for a couple of minutes. But I thought that would subside by now. Doesn't look to be yet. So that's not good. But yeah, hey, listen. What was the point of this? Oh yeah, giving some of my thoughts on people impulsively killing other people. This is one of the reasons as to why I don't ever want to have children. Just the recognition that the people who are the least fit to create people and to raise people, they're going to be far more likely to create far more people. So you're throwing your children into the den of wolves, and that's a dangerous thing to do, And that might be that's just one of the reasons, but